The pounding on my door at 2 a.m. rips me out of sleep like a fire alarm. My heart is already racing before my brain catches up. I sit up in bed, confused, trying to figure out if I dreamed it. Then it comes again. 3 hard knocks that shake the door. Nobody shows up at this hour with good news. I throw off my blanket and my feet hit the cold floor. I live alone in a small apartment in Portland. After Lauren left me 2 years ago, I decided I liked the quiet. No drama, no surprises, just my job as a financial analyst and my routines. This is not part of my plan. I grab my phone from the nightstand like it might protect me and walk to the door. My old shirt is twisted around my chest. My sweatpants have seen better days. I look through the peephole, but the hallway light is half dead like always. I see a shape but nothing clear. "Who is it?" I call out. My voice sounds rough. There is a long pause. Then I hear a voice I recognize, but it sounds wrong. Shaky and thin. "It's Rebecca. Please. I know it is late. I need help." Rebecca Hayes. My neighbor from 2 floors up. I have seen her in the elevator, in the parking garage, always dressed nice, always in a hurry. We have nodded at each other maybe 10 times in the year I have lived here. That is it. Now she is outside my door at 2 a.m. asking for help. I unlock the door fast and pull it open. What I see makes my stomach drop. She looks nothing like the put-together woman I pass in the lobby. Her red dress is wrinkled. Her face is streaked with makeup that ran from crying. Her eyes are puffy and red. She is shaking. "Rebecca," I say. "What happened? Are you okay?" She does not answer right away. She just stands there looking at me like she is surprised I open the door. Then her eyes move past me into my apartment. "Can I come in?" she whispers. Her voice is so quiet I almost miss it. Every part of my brain starts yelling. This is my neighbor. I barely know her. Letting her in alone at 2 a.m. seems like a bad idea. What if someone sees? What if this goes wrong somehow? But I look at her face, at the pain in her eyes, at the way she is holding her arms tight around herself like she might fall apart. Cannot say no. "Yeah," I say. "Come in." She walks past me and I smell perfume mixed with something else. Wine maybe. Her heels click soft on my floor, but her steps are small and careful. She stops in my living room and looks around. My cheap couch. My old TV. The stack of mail I have not opened. The laundry basket I keep meaning to fold. I suddenly see my whole life through her eyes and feel embarrassed. "I am sorry," she says, turning to me. "I should not be here. This is so wrong. I should go." She moves toward the door. Without thinking, I step in front of her. "Rebecca, wait." I keep my voice gentle. "You came here for a reason. You do not have to leave. Just sit down and talk to me." She stares at me for a long moment. I can see her fighting with herself. Part of her wants to run. Part of her is desperate to stay. Then her shoulders drop and she lets out a breath. "Okay," she says. She sits on the edge of my couch like she is afraid she will break it. Her hands fold tight in her lap. "Let me make some tea," I say. She just nods. I go to the kitchen and put the kettle on. The sound of water heating is the only noise in the apartment. "How do you take your tea?" I call out. "Just plain is fine," she answers. Her voice sounds a little stronger now. I bring 2 cups back and hand her one. I sit in the chair across from her. Not too close, but close enough. She wraps both hands around the cup like she is freezing even though my apartment is warm. "Thank you," she says quietly. She takes a sip and closes her eyes for a second. I wait. Sometimes people just need space to let the words come out. "His name was Trevor," she says suddenly. "Trevor something. Finance guy. Big office downtown. Drives a car that costs more than I make in a year. We met at some work event 3 weeks ago right after my divorce was final." I stay quiet. My job is just to listen. "We went to this restaurant," she continues. "One of those places where everything is too expensive and the music is too loud." He talked about himself for 2 straight hours. His job, his money, his opinions about everything. Every time I tried to say something he would smile and nod and then keep talking like I never opened my mouth. I can picture it. Some guy in a perfect suit loving the sound of his own voice. Then at the end, she says, "He told me he likes successful women. That it is attractive. But then he said men still need to feel important." He said maybe if we dated I could let him handle the big decisions so I would not stress so much about important things. My jaw tightens. What did you do? I ask. I wanted to throw my drink in his face, she says. But I did not. I told him the night was over. I paid for my own meal and walked out. She laughs, but there is no joy in it. Then I sat in my car for over an hour, just sitting there in the parking lot like an idiot. Her voice cracks. He is the third guy in 2 weeks who made me feel like I am too much, too successful, too opinionated, too independent. My ex-husband said the same thing, that I cared more about my career than our marriage. Maybe he was right. Maybe I built this whole life and lost everything that actually matters. That is not true, I say. The words come out stronger than I mean them to. How would you know? She snaps. Then she looks away. Sorry. I should not talk to you like that. It is okay, I say. You are upset. I lean forward a little. Anyone who makes you feel like you are too much is really just saying you are more than they can handle. That is their problem, not yours. She looks at me surprised. Something in her face softens. How do you do that? She asks quietly. Do what? Say the right thing. You have been doing it since I walked in. No judgment. No questions about why I am here. Just calm. I shrug. I just try to treat people like people. Not like neighbors or strangers. Just people having a bad night. She is quiet for a moment. That is why I came here, she says. Her fingers squeeze the cup tighter. My heart starts beating faster. What do you mean? She takes a breath. I went home after that date. To my apartment upstairs with all my nice furniture. I stood there in the dark and realized I could not remember the last time I felt actually happy. Not proud of my job. Not successful. Just happy. She looks up at me. I thought about people in my life. Friends who only want to talk about work. Family who only asks about my career. Then I thought about you. Me, I say. My voice sounds strange. You hold the elevator for me, she says. You say good morning like you mean it. 2 months ago you asked if I was okay when you saw me carrying groceries and I looked tired. Nobody else in this building has ever done that. I remember that day. She had dark circles under her eyes and looked like she might drop everything. Her hand lifts slowly off the cup. She reaches across the space between us. I could move. I could pull back. I do not. Her palm rests on top of my hand. The touch sends heat up my arm. I can feel your pulse, she whispers. It is racing. So maybe I am not the only one feeling something here. She is right. I feel it too. My throat feels tight. But I am scared. You barely know me. I barely know you. What if this is just because you had a bad night? What if tomorrow you regret coming here? Her eyes fill with tears, but she does not look away. I have been asking myself that same question for the last hour, she says, sitting in my car, driving around, parking outside this building. And every time I ask it, the answer is the same. You are the only person I wanted to see. The only person I trust to not make me feel worse than I already do. The room feels smaller. The air feels heavier. I should say something smart, something careful. Instead, I just turn my hand over so our palms touch. Her fingers lace through mine. We sit like that for a long time, not talking, just holding hands in my dim living room while the city sleeps outside. I do not know what happens next, I finally say. Neither do I, she answers. But I know I did not want to be alone tonight, and you were the only person I could think of. We sit there until her tea goes cold, until her breathing evens out, until she stops shaking. Eventually she stands to leave. Thank you, she says softly, for listening, for not judging me. I walk her to the door. Good night, I say. Good night, she answers. And I realize that whatever just started at 2 a.m. in my tiny apartment, my life is never going to be the same. The next few days feel like walking through fog. I see Rebecca in the building, but we do not talk about that night. Monday morning, I run into her at the mailboxes. She gives me a small smile and says thank you again. Then she leaves before I can say anything back. Tuesday, I hear her heels clicking in the hallway above my apartment. I stare at the ceiling wondering if she is thinking about me. Wednesday, I take the stairs instead of the elevator because I am too nervous to face her in that small metal box. By Thursday, I convince myself she regrets everything. that I was just a place to land during a crisis, that I will never hear from her again. Then Thursday evening around 7 p.m. someone knocks on my door. Not pounding like before, just 3 polite knocks. I open it and Rebecca is standing there. She looks different tonight. Her hair is pulled back. She is wearing jeans and a sweater. No makeup, no dress, just her. "Hi," she says. "Can we talk?" I step aside and let her in. She walks to my couch, but this time she does not sit on the edge. She sits back and looks at me. "I have been avoiding you," she says. "I know," I answer. I sit in the same chair as before. The space between us feels wider this time. "I have been thinking about that night," she continues. "About what I said. About holding your hand. Part of me wanted to pretend it never happened. Go back to being neighbors who nod in the hallway. But I cannot do that." "Why not?" I ask. "Because it would be a lie," she says. Her voice is steady now, not shaky like before. "I meant what I said. You make me feel like a person, not a job title. And when I touched your hand, I felt something I have not felt in years." I look down at my own hands. My heart is pounding again just like that night. I felt it too, I admit. But I do not know what to do with that. She leans forward. "Tell me about your ex," she says. "What?" "Tell me about the person who left you. I can see it in your eyes. Someone hurt you and you are scared it will happen again." I take a breath. Her name was Lauren. We were together for 3 years. She wanted someone ambitious, someone climbing the ladder. I left a startup job because the hours were killing me. I came here for something stable. She said I gave up, that I was settling for average. She left 6 months later. Rebecca nods slowly. "My ex-husband said I was married to my work," she says, "that I cared more about promotions than our relationship. Maybe he was right. I worked 60-hour weeks. I missed dinners and vacations. I told myself it was temporary, that once I got to a certain level I would slow down. But there was always another level, always another goal." She wipes her eyes. "We stopped talking about anything real. We became roommates who barely saw each other. When he asked for a divorce, I was not even surprised." "Did you love him?" I ask. She thinks about it. "I loved who I thought he was," she says, "but I do not think I ever let him really see me. I was too busy being impressive." The honesty in her words hits me hard. We sit in silence for a minute. "Why did you come to my door that night?" I ask. "Why me?" She looks right at me. "Because 3 months ago I saw you sitting on the building steps," she says. "You were eating a sandwich and reading a book. You looked so content, like you did not need anything else in that moment. I remember thinking I could not remember the last time I felt that way. Then 2 months ago you held the elevator and asked about my day. Not like small talk, like you actually wanted to know. And that night after Trevor, I just kept thinking about your face. About how you made me feel normal." "Normal is not very exciting," I say. She shakes her head. "Normal is everything," she says. "Do you know how exhausting it is to always be on? To always be performing? With you, I do not feel like I have to be anyone but myself." I do not know what to say to that. She stands up and walks over to my chair. She kneels down in front of me so we are eye level. "I am not asking you to have all the answers," she says. "I am asking if you feel something when I am here. If you think about me when I am not. If maybe you want to see where this could go." My mouth is dry. "Yeah," I say. "I think about you. All the time since that night." Her eyes search mine. "So what do we do?" she asks. "We go slow," I say. "We do not rush this. We get to know each other like normal people. Coffee or dinner or walks. No jumping into something we are not ready for." She smiles. "I like slow," she says. "I have spent my whole life rushing." Her hand reaches up and touches my cheek. Just that. Nothing more. But I feel it everywhere. "Can I take you to coffee this weekend?" she asks. "As a real date. Not as your neighbor in crisis. Just as me." I nod because words are stuck in my throat. "Saturday then," she says. "There is a place downtown called Morning Brew. Do you know it?" "I know it," I manage to say. She stands up and I stand too. We walk to the door together. She stops before leaving and turns back. "Thank you," she says, "for not making this weird. For giving me a chance." "You do not have to thank me," I say. Yes, I do, she answers. You could have shut the door that night. You could have told me to leave tonight. But you did not. That means something. She leaves and I close the door behind her. I stand there for a long time just breathing. Saturday comes slower than any day in my life. I change my shirt 3 times. I get to morning brew 10 minutes early and sit at a table by the window. When Rebecca walks in, I feel my chest tighten. She is wearing a simple dress and her smile is real. Not the polite one I have seen in the hallway. The real one. She sits across from me and we order coffee. So, she says, tell me something real about yourself. Something nobody knows. I think about it. I wanted to be a teacher, I say. When I was younger. I loved math and I thought about teaching high school. But everyone said it did not pay enough. That I would struggle. So I went into finance instead. Her eyes soften. Do you regret it, she asks. Sometimes, I admit. I make good money now. I have stability. But I wonder what my life would look like if I had been braver. Your turn, I say. Tell me something real. She takes a sip of her coffee. I am terrified of being alone, she says. Not just single. Alone. Like truly alone with no one who really knows me. That is why I work so much. If I stay busy, I do not have to think about how lonely I am. The words hang between us. I reach across the table and take her hand. You are not alone, I say. Not anymore. She squeezes my fingers. We talk for 2 hours. About our families. Our childhoods. Our fears. She tells me about growing up with parents who only cared about achievements. About learning to measure her worth by her job title. I tell her about my dad who died of a heart attack at 50 because he worked too hard. About my fear of ending up the same way. When we finally leave the coffee shop, the sun is starting to set. She walks close to me. Not holding hands, but our arms brush with every step. Can I see you again? She asks when we reach the corner near our building. How about tomorrow, I say. She laughs. That soon? I have 2 years of being careful to make up for, I say. She looks up at me and for a second I think she might kiss me. But she does not. She just smiles and says tomorrow then. We walk back to the building together. In the elevator she stands on one side and I stand on the other. But when the doors close she reaches out and takes my hand. We ride up in silence. On her floor she lets go and steps out. Good night, she says. Good night, Rebecca, I answer. The doors close and I lean against the wall. My heart is still racing. But this time it is not from fear. It is from hope. 3 weeks pass and Rebecca becomes part of my daily life in ways I never expected. We meet for breakfast on Saturday mornings at a diner near the river. She orders pancakes every time and never finishes them. I always eat the rest. We take walks through the park on Sunday afternoons. She points out birds and tells me their names. I never knew she liked birds. She never knew I could juggle until I picked up 3 oranges at the grocery store and showed her. We are learning each other piece by piece. One Wednesday evening she texts me asking if I want to come up to her apartment for dinner. I have never been to her place before. When I knock on her door my palms are sweating like I am 15 again. She opens it wearing an apron covered in flour. I am making pasta from scratch, she says. Or trying to. Come help me before I ruin it. Her apartment is 3 times the size of mine. Big windows. Nice furniture. Everything neat and organized. But it feels cold somehow. Like a hotel room. We stand in her kitchen rolling dough and she tells me about her job. She works in marketing for a tech company. Long hours. Lots of pressure. Constant deadlines. Do you like it, I ask. She stops rolling and looks at the dough. I used to, she says. Or I thought I did. Now I am not sure if I like it or if I just like being good at it. There is a difference, I say. She nods slowly. Yeah, there is. We cook together and it feels easy. Natural. Like we have done this 100 times before. Over dinner she asks about my work. I tell her about spreadsheets and reports and how most days blur together. She does not look bored. She actually listens. Asks questions. Wants to know what I like about it. The stability, I say. Knowing what to expect. After my dad died from stress, I promised myself I would not chase money or titles. I would just live. She reaches across the table and takes my hand. That is not giving up, she says. That is being smart. I wish I had figured that out sooner. We clean up together. Wash dishes side by side. Our shoulders bump and neither of us moves away. When everything is put away, she walks me to the door. Thank you for coming up, she says. This was nice. Really nice. I do not want to leave, but I do not want to push. Good night, Rebecca, I say. She catches my arm before I step into the hallway. Wait, she says. Can I ask you something? Anything, I answer. Do you ever think about kissing me, she asks. Her voice is quiet but steady. My heart jumps into my throat. All the time, I admit. She steps closer. Why have you not? Because I want to do this right, I say. I do not want to rush and mess it up. Her hand slides up to my chest. What if I want you to rush? She whispers. I look down at her eyes looking back at me, at her lips slightly parted. Every part of me wants to close the distance. But something stops me. Not yet, I say softly. When I kiss you, I want us both to be sure. Not caught up in a moment. Sure that this is real. She looks disappointed, but she nods. You are right, she says. You are always right. I am not always right, I say. But I am trying to be careful with you. With us. She smiles at that. Okay, she says. We wait. But not too long. Deal, I answer. I leave her apartment and walk down the stairs instead of taking the elevator. I need to clear my head. Need to slow my racing heart. When I get to my door, I lean against it and let out a long breath. This is harder than I thought it would be. 2 days later, on Friday afternoon, my phone rings while I am at work. It is Rebecca. Her voice sounds different. Shaky. Can you meet me after work? She asks. There is something I need to tell you. My stomach drops. That is never a good way to start a conversation. Yeah, I say. Where? The park near our building. By the fountain. I will be there at 6. Okay, she says. And then she hangs up. I spend the rest of the day distracted. Staring at my computer screen but not seeing anything. What does she need to tell me? Is she ending this before it really starts? Did she meet someone else? Did I wait too long? At 6, I am standing by the fountain. The water sounds loud in my ears. Then I see her walking toward me. She is still in her work clothes. A blazer and pants. Her face is serious. Strained. She stops a few feet away from me. Thanks for coming, she says. I almost did not call. Almost kept this to myself. But we said we would be honest. We did, I say. My chest feels tight. She takes a breath. My company is going through changes, she says. They are restructuring. Cutting some positions. Promoting others. Today my boss offered me a VP role. I wait for her to continue. That is good, right? I ask. That is what you have been working toward. She shakes her head. Comes with a huge raise, she says. But it also means 60-hour weeks. Constant travel. No time for anything else. No time for this. She gestures between us. I worked my whole marriage like that. It destroyed everything. I swore I would never do it again. But turning it down feels impossible. Like throwing away everything I built. What do you want to do? I ask. She looks at me with tears in her eyes. I do not know, she says. If I take it, I lose you. I lose any chance at a normal life. But if I turn it down, I might regret it forever. What if I am making a mistake? What if I am throwing away my career for something that might not even work out? Her words hit me like a punch. I step closer to her. Rebecca, I say, I cannot tell you what to do. This is your choice. But I can tell you what I see. I see someone who has spent their whole life chasing the next goal. Always thinking the next promotion will make you happy. Has it? She wipes her eyes. No, she whispers. Then maybe it is time to try something different, I say. Maybe it is time to choose yourself instead of a job title. She looks up at me. What if I choose wrong? She asks. What if I turn this down and we do not work out and I am left with nothing? You will never have nothing, I say. You will have yourself. You will have the knowledge that you tried something brave. That you chose a life instead of a career. She breaks down crying then. Really crying. I pull her into my arms and hold her while she shakes. I am so tired, she says into my chest. I am tired of being strong. Tired of pretending I have it all together. Tired of being alone. Then stop, I say. Stop pretending. Stop being alone. Let me be here for you. We stand there by the fountain while people walk past, while the city moves around us. When she finally pulls back, her face is red and streaked with tears. I am going to turn it down, she says. The promotion. I am going to ask for a different role. Something with better hours. Less pressure. Are you sure? I ask. No, she says. But I am sure that I do not want to spend the rest of my life wondering what could have been with you. My throat tightens. That is the bravest thing I have ever heard, I say. She laughs through her tears. Or the stupidest. Time will tell. We walk back to the building together. This time she does take my hand. Right there on the street where anyone can see. In the elevator she leans against me. I wrap my arm around her shoulders. On her floor she turns to me before getting off. Come up, she says, just to talk. I follow her to her apartment. We sit on her couch and she curls up against my side. Tell me this is real, she says quietly. Tell me I am not crazy. This is real, I say. You are not crazy. We sit there in the quiet. Her breathing slows. Her body relaxes. After a while I realize she has fallen asleep. I do not move. I just sit there with her head on my shoulder thinking about what she is giving up, what she is choosing, and I promise myself that I will spend every day making sure she never regrets it. When she wakes up an hour later she looks embarrassed. Sorry, she says. I did not mean to fall asleep on you. It is okay, I say. You needed it. She sits up and looks at me. I am going to talk to my boss on Monday, she says. I am going to tell him I want a different position. Something sustainable. Okay, I say. I will be here no matter what happens. She takes my hand. I know, she says. That is why I can do this. We talk until late about what her new role might look like. About what our future could hold. About fear and hope and taking chances. When I finally go back to my apartment that night, I lie in bed staring at the ceiling. Everything is about to shift. For both of us. And I realize that the woman who knocked on my door at 2 a.m. is not the same woman sitting on that couch tonight. She is stronger now. Braver. And somehow I am too. Monday morning feels different. I wake up early and check my phone. Rebecca texted me at 7 a.m. going in to talk to my boss. Wish me luck. I text back immediately. You do not need luck. You have courage. That is better. I spend the whole day distracted. I try to work but my mind keeps drifting. Wondering how her conversation is going. Wondering if she will change her mind at the last second. At 3 p.m. my phone buzzes. Can you come to the park after work? Same spot. I type back yes before I even think about it. When I get there at 6 she is already waiting. But this time her face is different. Lighter somehow. She is smiling. I did it, she says as soon as I am close enough. I told him I wanted a different role. Something with normal hours and less travel. He was surprised but he listened. She grabs my hands. They are creating a new position for me. Same company but leading a smaller team. Focused on mentoring instead of climbing. It is perfect. Relief floods through me. How do you feel? I ask. Terrified, she says, but also free. Like I just jumped off a cliff and found out I can fly. We walk through the park as the sun starts to set. She tells me everything. How her boss tried to talk her out of it at first. How she explained she needed a life outside of work. How he finally understood and respected her choice. I am proud of you, I say. She stops walking and turns to me. I could not have done it without you, she says. You showed me what it looks like to be content. To choose peace over pressure. I did not do anything, I say. You did everything. You made me believe a different life was possible, she says. Her eyes are shining. You made me want more than just success. The air between us shifts. We are standing close now. Closer than we have stood since that night in her apartment. Do you remember what I said, she asks, about wanting you to rush? I remember, I say. My voice comes out rough. I do not want to wait anymore, she whispers. I have spent enough of my life waiting for the right moment. This is the right moment. She reaches up and puts her hand on my cheek. Can I kiss you now, she asks. Are you sure, I say. More sure than I have been about anything, she answers. I lean down and she rises up and our lips meet. The kiss is soft at first. Testing. Then deeper. like months of holding back finally breaking open. Her hands slide up to my neck. My arms wrap around her waist. We stand there in the park kissing while people walk by and the world keeps spinning and nothing else matters. When we finally pull apart, we are both breathing hard. She is smiling. Really smiling. That was worth waiting for, she says. Yeah, I agree. It really was. We walk back to our building hand in hand. In the elevator, she leans against me. I kiss the top of her head. On her floor, she does not let go of my hand. Come up, she says. Just for a little while. We sit on her couch, but this time there is no space between us. She curls into my side and I hold her close. This feels right, she says quietly. Being here with you. It does, I answer. We watch a movie, but I do not pay attention to it. I am too aware of her. The way she breathes. The way her fingers trace patterns on my arm. The way she fits perfectly against me. Halfway through, she looks up at me. I am falling in love with you, she says. Just like that. Simple and honest. My heart stops. Then starts again faster. I am falling in love with you too, I say. I have been for weeks. Maybe since that first night when you knocked on my door. She kisses me again. This time slower. Deeper. When she pulls back, her eyes are serious. I do not want to go slow anymore, she says. I want this. I want you. I want to see where this goes without holding back. What are you saying? I ask. I am saying stay, she whispers. Stay tonight. Stay tomorrow. Stay as long as you want. Are you sure? I ask. She nods. I have never been more sure of anything. That night I stay. We talk until late about everything and nothing. About our pasts and our futures. About dreams we have been too scared to say out loud. She tells me she wants to travel someday. Not for work but for fun. To see places just because they are beautiful. I tell her I want to go back to school maybe. Take some teaching classes. See if it is too late to chase that old dream. It is never too late, she says. We fall asleep on her couch wrapped around each other. When I wake up in the morning, she is watching me. Good morning, she says softly. Good morning, I answer. This is nice, she says. Waking up with you here. I could get used to this. Over the next few months, we fall into a rhythm. I spend more nights at her place than my own. We cook together. Watch shows. Take walks. Go to movies. She starts her new position and comes home at normal hours. She is less stressed. More present. We talk about real things. About moving in together maybe. About what our future could look like. One Saturday morning we are having breakfast at our usual diner when she puts down her fork and looks at me. I have been thinking, she says. About what? I ask. About us. About how you showed up when I needed someone. About how you never asked me to be anything but myself. Where is this going? I ask. She reaches across the table and takes my hand. I want to find a new place, she says. Not mine or yours. Ours. Somewhere that belongs to both of us. My chest tightens in the best way. Are you serious? I ask. Completely, she says. I am tired of splitting time between apartments. I want to wake up with you every day. I want to build a life with you. Not someday. Now. Yes, I say. The answer comes easy. Natural. Yes, I want that too. We spend the next month looking at apartments. Small ones we can afford together. Places with good light and space for both of us. We find one near the river. 2 bedrooms. Big windows. A kitchen where we can cook together. We sign the lease on a Tuesday. Move in on a Saturday. Our friends help us carry boxes. Rebecca's coworker asks how we met. We look at each other and smile. It is a long story, Rebecca says. But the short version is she saved me, I say. He saved me, she corrects. We saved each other, I finally say. And that feels like the truth. That night, after everyone leaves, we sit on the floor of our empty living room surrounded by boxes. She leans against me. 6 months ago, I was sitting in my car at 2 a.m. wondering if I would ever be happy. She says, now I am here with you, and I cannot remember what that sadness felt like. I kiss her temple. 6 months ago, I opened my door, and you were standing there crying. I say, I thought you were going to ruin my quiet life. She laughs. Did I? Completely, I answer. But in the best possible way. We sit there in the quiet of our new home. Our fresh start. I think about that knock at 2 a.m. that pulled me from sleep. How scared I was. How confused. How I almost did not open the door. If I had not, I would still be alone in my small apartment. Still going through the motions. Still safe but empty. Instead I am here. With her. Building something real. You know what is funny, Rebecca says. What? I spent years thinking I needed to be someone important to matter. To be worth loving. But you loved me when I was broken. When I had nothing to offer but tears and fear. That taught me more than any promotion ever could. You were always worth loving, I say. You just needed someone to show you. She turns and kisses me. Soft and sweet and full of promise. When she pulls back, she is smiling. Thank you, she says, for opening your door that night. For letting me in. For not giving up on me. Thank you for knocking, I answer. For trusting me. For choosing this. We sit there surrounded by boxes and possibility. Two people who found each other in the middle of the night. Who took a chance when it would have been easier to walk away. Who built something beautiful out of broken pieces. Outside our window the city glows. Inside our home we hold each other. And I know with absolute certainty that opening my door at 2 a.m. was the best decision I ever made.